Thank you for joining us. This is Live with Miami's Community News, and I'm here with Rabbi Ari Werbler. Thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure. Honor.
We're going to keep looking right over here. We're sort of looking both places, all right? So first of all, tell the folks about the new Chabad House on Miller Road.
So thank God we've been there only since Shavuot time, which is June. So it's only been a couple of months. But the more we're there, every day is like building traction. We're meeting people every day in business, in the community, residents. And you yourself witnessed Hanukkah. We had a full house of 30 to 40 people.
And you're from Chicago, but although you received your master's here at the University of Miami a few years ago, your family is in Chicago, so you go back to Chicago area. And then you said, oh, let's just move back to Miami, all right? And in an area where they're not the percentage of Jewish population in the area is small. You couldn't go to North Miami or Aventura, Sunny Isles, or Coconut Grove. You decided, for the powers to be, say, that's your new spot. When you decided to say, yes, I want to do that, what was in your soul in here like, wow, how am I going to do this? So tell us about that journey.
Well, first of all, everybody I meet says, there's no Jews here. And I said, you're the 100th person who said that. So each person that I meet is actually a diamond, and it's we're all kind of scattered all over the place. In coming out here, it was, again, I think, rather than a choice, chosen for us. There was opportunity, and there's many pockets of people without kind of the unifying infrastructure, which is part of what we're here to do, and part of what kind of brings me here today. We have Hanukkah we just had, which is a time where many people feel connected and feel alive and excited about Judaism, but we have something every week. We have a Shabbat, which is like an island in time where we get to disconnect to reconnect.
That's every Friday night.
Every Friday.
Every Friday night.
Every Friday night.
You hear that, Susan? Every Friday night. And so tell us about some events that you are having. One is on the 17th and one is on the 18th. So tell us about that.
So this week, we just came off Hanukkah, as I was saying, and Hanukkah is a time where we have a feeling of community, connection, joy, giving, and the light lasts for 8 nights, but it actually could continue all year round. So we have, again, like I just was mentioning, the Shabbat every week is this island in time. It's like a chance to disconnect or reconnect. You know, there's many people promoting this technology-free Sunday. We have it built into our system. So this week we're having a guest from Chicago, actually, who's a friend of mine who's a scribe. And if you know, just like all the letters in the Bible and the Torah complete each other, so do we. So we have this sense of community that we could carry through with light throughout the year round.
Have something that's important. Words and letters matter.
Right.
A lot.
Right.
And the emphasis on different words can mean many different things, right?
Right.
And so sometimes people will hear it, but they miss the emphasis, or they miss the comma, or they miss the and, or whatever it happens to be. So in this case, a scribe, which means that he's acutely familiar with how this whole process works.
Yeah, I could give you just an example of that, actually, just picking out one word. The word for truth in Hebrew is emet, which is the first letter, the middle letter, and last letter of the Hebrew alphabet. And all of the letters are comprised in that word. So the idea that it's all words carry a message with them.
So it's in your house. I was there for Hanukkah. There were people from age, I'll bet one lady was there was 85 or 90, all right? And there were several. And then there was young people, a lot of little kids. And then somebody was playing what do you call it? It was not quite a piano. What do you call that?
Keyboard. My son.
This young man was over there rocking and rolling, and you had a violinist that was there, perfectly matched. She was wearing purple, and there's, I think the violin, if I remember right, had some purple in it.
Yeah.
Have they worked together?
It was the first time, and it was unbelievable, yeah.
The synergy that took place, and between the two of them, there's all this messaging that's going on by a look or a nod of the head. And each of them were working together to make sure the music was synced correctly.
Right.
So my hat's off to that young man. All right, he's pretty bright from what I understand.
Right.
And many thanks. What's the violinist's name?
Mrs. Rivka Fisher, yeah.
Really good. And being good, she was all coordinated with her attire.
Yeah.
And it said to us, she's paying attention, and she wants people to listen, which was really tremendous. So on the violin, and she had a little amplifier in there, so it was really good. So let's talk about it. So the Chabad is at Miller and about 100?
So we're on Miller Drive between 102nd and 107th.
And why should somebody that's looking call you or stop by?
So you just gave a perfect representation of it. We had many people from all different age groups. And, you know, the example you used of this older violinist who had never played with, it was my son actually, who's 14, and the synchronicity of playing different notes. You know, the same thing we have with people, and we were talking about the Torah, the Bible, and words, that each one completes each other. That's really what our community is about. That each note, if all the notes were the same, if the violinist and the pianist just played one note the whole time, it wouldn't sound so nice. So the idea of community, of coming together, of that's our tradition, that's what our Chabad House is about. People of all different backgrounds and all different ages could come and feel a sense of connection throughout the year.
When I was at Chabad a couple of weeks ago, I was talking with somebody, and I said, put aside the religious aspect of somebody being here. Why else are these people here? So what is the draw? Put aside again the religious. I'm going to go there because it's where we're going to have the religious service. But why are people going there? What's there? What's in it for them?
So I think that you say put the religious piece aside. I think that's actually the whole point. Judaism is more of an identity than a religion. And what we look to do, like the word mitzvah, which people usually translate as good deed or a commandment, also comes from the word tzavtzah, to connect. More than anything, the solution to our soul's desires is connection to each other. And the mitzvahs, the Torah itself, the Jewish faith provides those like connector points, those circuits.
And by the way, so what is your web address if somebody wants to find out more about you?
It's ChabadSWMiami.org.
So ChabadSWMiami.org.
Yes. And you could RSVP there if you want, but not required, but just recommend.
So often that people want to have a connection. That's why they attend a certain business, a certain event, a certain Chabad, or certain whatever church they happen to belong to.
Yeah.
And what is it that you hope somebody gets when they at your place for either religious service or some classes that you offer? What do you want them to leave with?
So there's an interesting story, actually, just made me think of the simplest way to explain. And you see, the Torah, actually, the Bible has lots of stories. Why? Because the cold, hard facts, stop on a stop sign, is not what life's about. The stories actually reveal a lot more about a person in life than the rules, right? Don't touch the thermometer in your home. It means more about what's the comfort level and the connection of the people. The people make the home, not the house. So there's one story where someone came to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and he was the Rebbe. Actually, before he was a Rebbe, he was an engineer. And he asked him what his job was, and he says, "You see the light on the wall, and everybody has a light in them, has a source of light and power." He says, "I help somebody to find the switch." So he says, "Did you light my light tonight?" The person asked the Rebbe. He says, "I just handed you the match." Everybody has that inner soul desire to connect and something to share, to shine forth to the people that they interact with in their community and to connect with. So my job really is not really much. It's just, if I can, at the very least, help them see their own light, what they have to give.
By the way, so you have your master's in what?
Marriage and family therapy, which I'm still working on for myself.
So what is it that we can do as human beings to promote and allow other people for their light to shine without overwhelming them with a similar or dissimilar light?
So there is a sefer called the Tanya, which I call the Psychology of the Soul. It was written by the first Lubavitcher Rebbe, and I think it gives the two most, this is in a nutshell, it's many chapters, but giving practical advice on how to navigate life. It sees us for who we are, that we have struggles, that we are not, we're more in progress, we're souls in progress, and the goal is not perfection. And how do we accomplish that? First is to know that you matter infinitely for who you are. You're a source of, as we say in Hebrew, nachas, pride for who you are. And then with that, you'll want to do what is going to highlight that. So who you are matters, and what you do matters. You have a unique stamp, on a unique note in all of creation.
So how can we instill in young people that sort of and to internalize that so they feel good about it?
Right. That starts with our own work. We think about oftentimes how we could impart information on other people. There's a story with David, King David, how somebody curses him. And he says, it's divine providence that he was meant to curse me. But you don't see anywhere in the scripture that it says this person was supposed to curse him. So of course this person's going to be accountable for their action. But he saw it as a sense of not why is this happening to me, but it's happening for me. That there's something here that I could learn from that will come to my greatest potential. And that's something that as adults, individuals, we have to model, that every interaction we have has something to teach me.
So this is not a destination, this is a journey. It's ongoing forever.
Right.
Because just about the time that you think you got it, that's when you say, well, if you think you got it, how much of it do you think that you really got?
Right.
So many of us are on that quest to do better and to feel better and to do better work.
Right.
One of the things I've been doing recently, my 15-minute ride to work, no traffic, I have these tapes that I listen to. It's not quite a tape, like an audible product. And I took a test ahead of time. They asked about 25 questions, and they make suggestions on books that can help reinforce that or help me get to another place. So every morning, as soon as I leave the house, I play that. It's really so much better than the other stuff that I would listen to.
Right.
One of the other things they also said is, if you have a really good habit, and you do every day, try to find another habit you're trying to establish and put them together. For instance, every Friday night, I'm going to go to the rabbi's house, right? And
you said it here.
and while I'm there, I'm going to do something else.
Yeah.
To tie that feeling and together. So when people
we could give you a good piece of chicken or something. We'll tie it in together. Something.
Yes,
that is
so to speak. And so again, there was a wide range of people, men, women, little boys, little girls. And I haven't been around that many little children other than my own grandchildren in quite a while. So that was a real lesson for me, to watch these little kids do the stuff. And then as a perfect example, there was this 14-year-old young man playing like that.
Right.
It was really quite inspiring. So, and to regress a little bit, I asked myself many times when the war in Israel broke out, I said, what did the Jews ever do to people that so many people hate the Jews? The percentage of Jewish population throughout the world and throughout Miami and throughout Florida, throughout the United States is tiny. Why is there so much active anti-Semitism? What is it why does that happen, and what keeps it going?
Well, you said before about, how much when I say I got it, did I really get of it? I think in Judaism we're very conscious of asking questions. It's important to always be asking questions. The question is, which questions are we asking? So I think a more poignant and helpful, instructional, and motivating question is not why is there anti-Semitism, but for what? And for what is for us to have the opportunity, as who we are with our values, and partly what this community Shabbos is about, sharing that light with the world. That the way to treat people, respect. There's 7 actually mitzvahs for the world, for world peace, that we have in Judaism. That each person and each culture and each background has a place in this world that is unique to them. So you talked about the last year. A lot of times what happens is people come together over distress, right? When we feel distress, we feel like a sense of we're connected more. But we can do that all year round in celebration. Hanukkah is one of those examples. But every week we have a Shabbat where, like you said, a Shabbat, you come together, you come to my house, whether you're 5, 50, or 90, and you say, wait a second, we're always connected here. We always have something to give.
We saw, for the unfortunate souls in California, where they were talking about the community is really together, right? And relying on each other and having conversations, and because it brings strength to each one of them to help that through that difficult time. Right. Let's look past the difficult times. How do you get where you're feeling pretty satisfied? And why do people want to do better and to be better?
So I think there's 2 things. There's called b'samech b'cholkai, being happy with our lot, and the idea of a ratzon, a will. We both have this idea that we could be grateful, but at the same time, we're not satisfied. Happy but not satisfied. And you made me think of this because recently my grandmother passed away, Alav Shalom. And I'm on the plane going to visit her, And I'm thinking all the things that I could possibly say. And there's nothing that could capture a person, right? Especially at that moment. And I think about, there's a Yiddish word called zis, sweet. She was sweet not only with her applesauce. She took us to Toys R Us, which she way outlived. But it was her presence, that when you were in the room, you felt that you gave her this nachas, like I said before, the sense of pride, just by being who you are. And I think that is the message. I thought about that now when you asked this question about what brings us together. It's not just in difficult times, but it could be a sense of in celebration of who we are.
I was in a room not too long ago with 850 journalists, mostly from TV and radio. The connection that I felt, all right, was so enormous that we didn't need to know the backstory. We knew if they were there, all right, that it was important. And I looked at the group. They had produced thousands of stories last year, many thousands of stories during the year, each representing a different company, I might add. And so when I looked at it, the connection that we have in our souls and inside, when we walk into a group where there are other Jews that are there, we get it, right? You can feel that plug, that's in there. And so it allows us to explore these bigger questions of, why are we here?
Right.
And once we sort of start working on that, which I think is a forever thing, what is it we can do? And if we're lucky to be able to share that. So if somebody could go to the Chabad and learn from you. You have classes that you offer on a regular basis. And you have those classes on your website?
Yes.
Why don't you read off the website again?
So the website is chabadswmiami.org. And we have like that book that I mentioned before, Psychology of the Soul, meaning in prayer and meditation, which sometimes gets lost when it becomes either habitual, and how to invite what's called the service of the heart into the structure of our day. And we have weekly wisdom classes that we make available.
I frequently hear people say, join us on whatever level you would like.
Right.
And then, so it is with Chabad and any of them. However you want to participate, a little bit or a lot, that certainly is open.
Yeah, I think the idea is not, like you mentioned, it's a journey, not a destination. We are souls in progress, and we're not here to be CEOs of Judaism. We're here to, the success is in the moments itself.
When I was at your house, I had a very nice conversation with somebody a little bit older than me. Very, very nice conversation. I said, I really am not equipped to have a conversation about religion. What we can talk about is why we want to get together, right. What that whole process is. And again, my experience there is it's emblazed into my head, all the people that were there. I almost got it down pat about there, and people there's a lot of camaraderie, again, from the little girls and boys running around trying to figure out what to do, and then all the way through the married couples, and then some of the seniors. So it was a great feeling. I'm so glad that I went there. Interesting enough that my two children selected, they wanted to go there. Oh. It wasn't their parents. It was not their grandparents. They wanted to go there, all right? Because there's some connection they felt, I assume, with your children, all right?
Nice.
And it was like, I was stunned, actually.
It wasn't me, for sure.
And it was great to see them being able to make choices, with that.
I thought of you, actually, in the words that you're saying. First of all, that's a wonderful feedback to hear. In those travels, I just mentioned having to travel for a funeral. I had traveled for a bar mitzvah recently. Something I noticed in every leg of the trip, whether on the plane or in the airport, there was a gentleman who stopped me from a small Jewish community in Austria to talk to me about his community there. We did a mitzvah of putting on tefillin together. There was somebody who stopped me in the airport to tell me about Hanukkah. There was somebody else who just smiled at me, put his hand on my shoulder, and said shalom. So everybody I met, this feeling like just this sense of family. Like you said, people coming to our Chabad house, it's like we say ein mishpacha, one family. And that's a beautiful thing that we could always connect on. And like I said, it doesn't matter level, just to share an experience. So
if folks are interested, they go to your website, they can call you from there, set up a time to go out to see you, or show up on, I know they have to call ahead of time.
And this week, we have this Shabbat where we're going to have hopefully these guests from Chicago, and also more community. That's just within the community. That's the greatest thing. We had members of the community come to visit a retirement home for us who have been coming to our Chabad house, so that they're able to give to other people as well. Parts of the community, giving to other community members.
Okay. We're going to wrap it up.
Sure.
Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
And every couple of weeks we should be doing this.
Okay.
It's a very soulful activity for me, and I hope that some folks out there could enjoy it. Rabbi, thank you very much.
It's an honor,
and we'll
pleasure.
look right over there. Folks, again, thank you for joining us. Remember, take care of yourselves and your family. Have a great day.